In this video, everybody, I'll be sharing the latest stimulus news and information, including how lawmakers are considering making the next round of stimulus payments more targeted. I will be discussing why Republicans do not want President Biden to move forward with his legislative agenda. Welcome back to your fourth stimulus check update and news report, folks. I hope all of you guys are having a great day so far.
Employment, etc., is that the traditional relationships that the Fed has and trends that the Fed has relied on regarding questions of full employment and inflation have been directly challenged.
Now, Senate Republicans are mulling support for a massive amount of new spending on infrastructure because they think it will help stop President Biden's agenda. Mitch McConnell has yet to tip his hand on whether he supports the bipartisan negotiations on President Biden's plan for roads and bridges that are being led by Senators Kirsten Sinema and Rob Portman. But a growing number of Senate Republicans are betting that if a deal is reached on that sort of physical infrastructure, Democrats just won't have the votes needed to pass the rest of Biden's other priorities, such as childcare and clean energy. The Senate Minority Whip John Thune stated that if a bipartisan package is passed, the only remaining ways for Democrats to pay for a second bill on his social spending programs are tax increases. Democrats can pass a spending bill with only Democratic votes, but they need all their 50 members to be on board. John Thune said, "It will be hard to get those moderate Democrats to be for that. The stars are kind of lining up for an infrastructure bill. And if you do something bipartisan on that, then I think that doing something partisan on reconciliation in some ways, with certain Democrats, it gets harder." Do you agree with President Biden's infrastructure package? Leave your thoughts on this in the comments below, folks. So what's at stake is perhaps trillions of dollars in spending sought by Democrats to provide paid family leave, raise taxes on corporations, and act on climate change. Those policies are more likely to fall. Democrats are aware that their time to get something else done is dwindling, and that a bipartisan agreement could take up significant floor time. Chuck Schumer said that the infrastructure talks are proceeding on two tracks. Chuck Schumer described the first track as bipartisan, while the second encompasses elements of President Biden's plan that will not get GOP support. Progressives for weeks have urged Democrats to move swiftly and ditch Republicans in the hopes of getting the most ambitious package possible. A spokesperson for Senator Bernie Sanders confirmed that he'd oppose a bipartisan package, increasing the number of Republicans that are needed to sign on. But as of now, it's not clear that Biden's party has the votes to proceed along party lines, while sidestepping a filibuster through so-called budget reconciliation progress, regardless of what it includes. And now, folks, 1 month from now, millions of Americans will receive extra financial help. People will soon receive payments from the expanded child tax credit, which will be sent out from July 15th through December 15th. According to CBS News, the American Rescue Act called for the IRS to send out monthly checks from July to December for parents who qualify. In total, 36 million American families are expected to receive those payments. CBS News reported that families will receive $300 for every child that they have who is under 6 years old. And now many of you are wondering who will be eligible to receive a fourth stimulus check. So the IRS said there are income thresholds for families who want to receive a monthly child tax credit payment. The current thresholds are $75,000 for single parents, $112,000 for the head of households, and $150,000 for a married couple who file a joint return. Now, it's likely, folks, that the next round of stimulus checks eligibility requirements will be similar to the past 3 rounds. For reference, the first stimulus check amounted to as much as $1,200, while the second stimulus check brought $600 to eligible Americans. The third stimulus check, which the IRS says is still in the process of distributing, is worth up to $1,400 per person, although the eligibility requirements are narrower. All 3 checks gave the full amount to taxpayers who made up to $75,000 a year, according to the most recent tax return. And now some lawmakers, including Senator Joe Manchin, should definitely step up to the plate and help out the American people. And if you guys support a fourth stimulus check, then don't forget to give this video a like. Tell me in the comments down below.
We are able to reach, and the G7 is just one group that, an important group that's expressed support for this approach. The largest group involved is the OECD. Negotiations have been going on there for many years. Anything that affects U.S. tax law must be enacted by the U.S. Congress, so Congress plays a critical role.
Thank you. The administration has proposed to make spending for the IRS mandatory spending But as you know, the appropriations process is an important part of congressional oversight in agencies like the IRS. Are you endorsing this idea that Congress will be removed from oversight of the Internal Revenue Service?
No, I have no such thought. I think it's important that Congress have oversight of all the executive branch activities and of agencies like the IRS. We've proposed an increase in mandatory spending because the IRS has really not had the kind of budget certainty that it needs to undertake long-term programs of modernization of their technology and hiring, training, retaining the qualified cadre of staff that are needed to improve their audit performance and try to close the tax gap. And we think the certainty that comes with a long period of assured funding. And what we've proposed, we think, is within IRS's wheelhouse to practically increase their expenditures at a pace of around 10% a year.
How is that different, Madam Secretary, from every other federal government agency?
Well, really, these are long-term investments that are just required. We have seen a 20% real shrinkage in IRS's budget, and
I understand your argument, but how is that different from any other government agency? I'm sure all federal government agencies would like to have mandatory spending and diminished congressional control over their budget. How is that different?
Well, it's not inherently different, and most of IRS's budget would continue to be flowed through an annual appropriation.
On another matter, Madam Secretary, my constituents have expressed concerns about the retroactive nature of the administration's proposal to increase capital gains tax. The administration's Green Book notes that the proposal would, quote, be effective for gains required to be recognized after the date of announcement. First, a clarification, what date does this refer to, the date of announcement?
I'll have to get back to you on that, Senator.
Fair enough.
Not positive.
And the other concern that I've heard from my constituents is the fundamental unfairness of people making long-term plans, whether as individuals or as small